I'm Dave Slack, the annual perennial buyer here at Meadows Farms. I want to talk to you today about some alternatives for the shade to take the place of Impatiens. The standard garden Impatiens Wallerianus have suffered a fate of a really nasty disease called Impatiens Downy Mildew. The disease has been around for a couple years, but there's a real nasty outbreak last year that affected just every state east of Mississippi. And we saw a lot of garden Impatiens in the landscape fail due to this disease. If you had planted Impatiens last year and they resemble either of those pictures, chances are good that they did die from Impatiens Downy Mildew, and you cannot plant Impatiens back in that area again. The spores will fall into the soil and live for an unknown amount of time. It could be several years. So if you did plant Impatiens last year and you were lucky that you didn't get affected by this disease, I would recommend trying to find an alternative for this year, because I believe this disease is going to be around even stronger this year than it was last year. And until some improved genetics come out and they develop a seed that is resistant to this downy mildew, I believe that we'll be dealing with not having Impatiens here for a while. We've made the decision at Meadows Farms not to carry the standard garden Impatiens because we thought that was the right decision to do. Not an easy one. Number one, selling annual for many people for many years for a good reason. It offers a great selection of color, lots of flower power in the shade, but we want our customers to succeed, and we didn't want to risk them having the Impatiens die. To talk about some of the alternatives we have, New Guineas are not affected by this disease. So New Guinea Impatiens are probably the number one go-to as an alternative for the garden Impatiens. They offer a pretty similar range of colors, and the one downfall is they are a little more expensive because they're a vegetatively grown annual. It's a premium annual, not generated from seed, so it will be a little more expensive, but it's a great substitute. They get nice and big, keep that good flower in the shade. Begonias have been grown for the sun forever. So your standard wax begonias, somewhat limited in color. You have bronze leaf and green leaf, and then colors, flower colors of pink, white, and red, but they do very well in the shade and will give you good color all summer long into the fall. There's other begonias, Selenia, which is a form of a Rieger type begonia with the double flowers, does really good in the shade, actually prefers some shade or gets some sunburn, as well as the Million Kisses Rex type begonia with the dark foliage, and the tuberous non-stop begonias with the double flowers. They all really do well with a little bit of shade. They don't like that full sun. Other things that do great in the shade, the fuchsia is a nice coloring annual for the shade. Just beautiful, beautiful colors and different blooms, multicolored blooms. Lobelia is a good one for the shade. Nice blue mat of annual color on the ground there. Terenia, been used for the sun for a long time, but some of these just haven't been used enough in the shade. They do fine in the shade with the multicolored blooms. 3 or 4 different varieties we'll have. Ageratum is another one that does good in the shade, holds that blue color, and there's different colors of ageratums that we'll have. There's also some foliage plants that have good color interest for the shade that really pop out when they're in that shady environment. Sweet potato vine, there's 5 or 6 varieties that we'll carry. Here's 3 of them. That chartreuse color, real nice, very good for mixed containers as well as in the landscape. You have the fiber optic grass that does good, alternantheria, vinca vines with the variegated foliage. Caladium's been very popular for a long time. They offer great color in the shade. Coleus, one of my favorites, just a huge different selection of color variegation and variations with texture. Very nice for shade stuff. So you've got your begonias, all your colors, all of your different foliage and colors for annuals, and don't be tied into just using annuals for spots that you may have used Impatiens in the past. If you're not happy or you want to try something different, try some perennials in that area too. That way you may not have to plant them each year. They may come back each year and be great for you. There's some blooming perennials that do good. Pulmonaria, lamium in the shade, good variegation. What I like with the shade perennials, is a lot of these guys have really good foliage interest after they're done blooming. You know, the bloom cycle for your perennials is usually much shorter than that of an annual. You know, you'll probably get 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks for some of these perennials, but then you have nice foliage afterwards. Aquilegia is a nice blooming early spring plant for the shade, and there's heucheras, which come in a vast variety of colors that not only give you the flowering look for the springtime, but also that foliage color. Hellebores have become very popular. Carry 10 varieties of hellebores, and this is a great perennial. It's an evergreen practically in our area, as are the heucheras. But this thing will start blooming for you in February when we have some mild winters, and will bloom through April into May. Hostas have been around for a long time. Lots of varieties of hosta give you good color variegation and good pop in the shade. And then like the creeping Jenny, which is a good ground cover and really stands out in a shady environment with that color. So come on out and see us. We've got a ton of stuff. Perennial-wise, there's another 100 varieties we carry that do great in the shade. So come out, take a look, and see what we have for your alternatives to take the place of garden Impatiens for your garden this year. Thank you very much.